Okay, so this is a Powerbook 3400 series. I just bought it at eBay. Condition was actually pretty good. Everything seems to be working. It just needs a very thorough cleaning, and also I think it will be wise to remove the PRAM battery as well, as it's very known to leak and damage the whole board. So what I'm gonna do now is basically open this up, make sure everything inside is intact. I mean, like no battery leakage or anything like that. I will also perform a very good thorough cleaning on the insides of this Powerbook here. And one thing that I wanted to test, and I'm not entirely sure whether or not this will work, is I have so this is basically a Powerbook Kanga, a G3 Kanga Powerbook motherboard, and I have it for quite a while now, and I'm not entirely sure it actually works because I never had the chance actually to put it inside a working 3400 Powerbook. So this might be a great opportunity to test it out, make sure it works, and if it does, just leave it. Why not? It might be a nice upgrade to this old Powerbook. So I might proceed with the testing of this afterwards. So let me just put this board aside so we can proceed with the disassembly of this Powerbook here. So basically the initial steps are getting rid or removing those initial 3 screws here on the bottom, and that should be enough to release the keyboard, and from there we can start digging into the brain, the guts of this Powerbook. So again, hopefully everything will be okay inside. I realized that those screws are actually, they were really loose, which means that probably someone was inside of it already in the past. Might be a good thing or might not, I have no idea. So let's see. Very carefully here. Now we have to open it up. As you can see, the overall state is fairly decent. Like, of course it's dirty and everything, but let's face it, like, this is a very old Powerbook, so I wasn't expecting it to be like in mint condition or anything like that, and the price that I paid for it was actually like a very good price, so I couldn't complain at all. So lifting up the keyboard here so we can take a look on the insides of this Powerbook. For the first time, there is something grabbing here, and I think it's the actual cable. There is the ribbon cable here. It is grabbing, and I don't want to pull it too hard. Okay, yeah, got it. So that's the ribbon cables that connects the Powerbook. I can see here what appears to be, it appears to be a loose cable here. Yes, there is a loose cable, the broken connector that appears to be, yeah, so this is the battery, you see. So it is corroded, only the cable and the terminals, which it was actually expected, to be honest. Like no major damage from what I can see, besides the connector and the cable, which is really okay. Like, I don't think this is a problem at all. Trying to disconnect it, it's just useless. So let me see if I can remove the keyboard. Yeah, so I know what type of connector that is. Okay, so just so I don't get lost, I have to organize myself here. So filming, in my opinion, always a good idea, because I get to, you know, track it back afterwards, to understand exactly where each screw was, so I know how to reassemble it afterwards. Okay, so next move here will be disconnecting the keyboard, and maybe I could actually better do that if I remove the memory module first. So let me just protect the screen here, and let me place the keyboard up here and try to remove this memory module, which should be easy enough. So it's just my okay, so let's see, it should be easy enough. Yep, that's it. So this is the memory module, and now it gives me some more room, you know, to investigate. So I can get rid of this loose cable here, don't need it anymore. Yep, and let me just make sure that the camera is actually capturing everything. Yes, it seems to be. Okay, so I will be careful not to touch the tripod. Okay, so on to the keyboard. So fragile, and if you put too much strain on it, especially on machines that age, they eventually break down. So I had some issues with that in the past, and I really don't want to take any chances here. So I'm going to use some plastic, trying to basically lift them up. Yeah, that's not an easy task, as you can see. Tweezers, it's not the best option. It doesn't give me the reach that I need. Yeah, I hate that. See, like I don't have enough room, so I will have to use probably. So let's see if I can do it. Okay, one side is loose. Sorry about my dog. Okay, the other side is almost. Come on. And yeah, I think it's off. Now for this one. This side is okay. Now for the other side here. It's really okay. This side is loose. So patience is key, really, because if you try to do that without the proper patience, you will, you know, like screw something up for sure. So keyboard's out. So we get to see the general condition of everything here. So looks fine. I really want to get access to this battery here so I can remove it. It's not good that this battery is still there. So let's see, the next steps here might be, I think, removing this portion here. Let me see if I can see any other screws. Yeah, let's try this one here. Okay, they are pretty much all the same size as of now, or they? No, they aren't. So this one here goes in the middle, and I'm going to put it in the top portion here. So those are in the bottom ones. This goes in the middle here. Let me see if I can loosen this up. Maybe getting this one here loose as well. It is a little bit scary, you know, to disassemble those old computers. So this one here goes on this portion here, so let me just put it here so we can record it. So this one goes there. I'm going to put it here, and hopefully this will be loose now. Let's see. It is, seems to be okay. Yeah, good. Yes, 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 perfect. Perfect, perfect. So I get access now to the battery. Let me just disconnect. Okay, sorry about the tripod. Okay, so I'm actually going to remove this double-sided tape here, because, you know, in the end, if you just leave it, it is going to be like a dust magnet. And since we don't need it, I'm just going to go and just remove it. Good news is no battery leakage whatsoever. Board seems very clean just by looking at it, so I'm very happy with that. Now the question is, should I proceed and disassemble the whole thing to try and replace the motherboard with the Kanga G3 motherboard, or should I just leave it and just remove the battery, clean this up, and reassemble everything? To get access to the motherboard is not too hard. As far as I remember, I just have to basically remove this screw here, and then this should come off, and I have to remove the trackpad as well, and that should be it as far as I remember. Like and then disconnect everything, of course, but not a lot of screws, I think, so it might be not too hard to pull this off. And bare minimum, I should be able to get a very thorough cleaning process on the motherboard anyways. So even if the G3 Kanga doesn't work, it might be a good exercise, you know, to get everything very clean and well. Okay, let me get some rubbing alcohol. So I think I'm gonna need it. Okay, so rubbing alcohol. So this is basically 99.9% alcohol that I have, just for the purpose of cleaning, you know, these components and such. So just removing the residual glue here on the metal plate. Okay, looks very clean now. So just take the opportunity to, you know, continue the cleaning here where the battery was. Even though there is no leakage, there is a little mark here that it's not really leakage per se, it's something else, but if I could get rid of it, that would be ideal. Yeah, it's not going to come off, so I'm just going to leave it. Not a big deal then. So speaker assembly, speakers and everything else. I'm actually going to use a brush to brush it afterwards, remove all the dust speckles and everything else. So yeah, I really like, you know, to make sure everything is very clean and, you know, free of previous owners stuff, if you know what I mean. Like, I really don't like this sometimes disgusting sort of you know, residuals that these old computers have. I don't think anyone does. So a good through-all cleaning, it's always recommended. At least gives you like some peace of mind. And yeah, yeah, it looks great. I will just clean it up later on with some rubbing alcohol just to make sure everything's clean. So yeah, it looks actually fairly clean, very good. So I'm going to put that along with the keyboard. And now let's see how hard it will be for me to get rid of this. So I think I get to remove those side plastic. Even though I think I don't have to. Okay, so let's do some more disconnects here. So I need to disconnect. See how this goes. I don't see any screws here. I really don't want to disconnect anything more than I actually need to get to the guts of this. Otherwise I might just leave the PowerPC original board untouched. So this one I am removing. This one goes on top here, so it's a large one. I'm going to leave here on top as well. It's actually the same size and format as the other one. No, it's not. This is slightly bigger, so I'm going to leave it here. And okay, let's see if I can remove this plate now. Apparently yes. Yeah, I have to disconnect the cable here first. So just carefully lifting this plastic thing up. That's it. And this plate shall now be loose, totally free. No, not quite, because there is something still underneath here. Okay. Yeah, I have to remove this part. I have no clue on how to do this because I don't see any screws or anything holding this up. It might just be like, yeah. I hate this. I really don't want to break anything. Okay, come on. Come on now. Okay, so let me look at the documentation and I'll be back. Okay, so I went to the iFixit website, and in there it suggests that I should remove basically this side plastic holdings here. So I just removed this one and I'm getting rid of this other one here. And let me just consult again. So I'm just following the instructions here just to be safe. So remove the side panels, then disconnect something. Well, yeah, it's actually asking me to disconnect now this. So this is the ribbon that connects the trackpad. So I should be able to, hopefully easily enough, disconnect this guy here by lifting this up. Yeah. Shoot. And this is not easy, you see. It's very easy to make a mistake here and break everything, and I really don't want this to happen. Can't get this loose. Let me see if I can continue without doing this step. So yeah, it says there is a risk of breaking the tabs that lock the panel to the case. So remove it slowly. So squeeze the track panel to loosen the clamps. Okay, so let me see if I can do that. Apparently on this side here is fine, but getting it loose on this side is not a walk in the park. Very easy to break those tabs, you know. Very easy. Come on now. Shoot. So fucking annoying. Finally. Okay, so this just a matter of okay. Okay. I don't like this. Shit. This side here is almost totally loose, but I still can't get the other side to collaborate here. So this, I have to remember about this later. Shoot. Okay, so apparently there is something missing. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. fun of it. Ah, shoot. I hope those stuff doesn't break. Come on. I have another one here. That is from the other Powerbook. So I get to see how they actually connect. So basically, as you can see, like this guy is holding everything up. So I just had to pull this here. Come on. Nope. I'm going to pause this. Okay, so I got it out just to show you, like basically I used a screwdriver and I pried here in the point that I showed you before, and finally I got it to disconnect. No damage to the plastics or anything, so I can see that everything is still yeah, I see that this was fixed before, so this is super glue. So someone fixed this, which is actually great because I do have a replacement which is in very good shape, like see. So it was good that I disassembled this, so I can replace it now with a proper functioning one. So I'll do this later. Okay, so well, we are almost over with the disassembly. So now this is the hard drive portion, so I just have to remove the screws for it. I have to replace that. Okay, so let's see if there is any other surprise along the way. Hopefully not. The case state, it looks pretty good. All the plastics are in place, like I don't see any cracks or breaks of any kind. So those are the hard drive assembly screws. I'm going to leave them here, and I should be able to lift this up now, yes, and disconnect. So let me just pull the monitor back. Yeah, so I can just connect this now. So the hard drive, as far as I know, is in okay shape, so I'm not gonna touch it. I'm actually going to leave the screws along with it, so I know exactly where it goes. Okay, now this is the power supply assembly, so I just have to remove this, yeah, because as far as I remember there's a screw here somewhere, or isn't. Here should be. No, apparently it's just loose. So yeah, so this is the power supply board. I'm going to leave it here. So this is the main board, right? So this is the heatsink, which is already loose. I just have to remove it. And so this is the network card. This is the monitor or the display connector. I can just unplug it here, and I don't even think I need to disconnect the network card to actually pull this motherboard out. So I need to disconnect the fan. Okay, disconnected. I can put this away. So this is PowerPC 603. Okay, so let's see if I now can. Maybe there is a screw somewhere that I'm not seeing. Okay, let me just. Maybe I should disconnect this. No screws or anything. No. So it should be as easy as just lifting this up. Come on. Yep. Okay, so this is the network card, and now it's only the motherboard, there is nothing else here. So hopefully I should now be able to lift it up. So let me disconnect this as well. This is the LED connector. Good. Should be able to lift it up. Come on. Some okay. There's no screws or anything, so I should be able to move. Yeah, the problem is this assembly here. If I have to remove it, then I'm just gonna leave it, because yeah, probably I will have to remove it, because otherwise, like this guy won't be able to pass through it. Be able to do it, I think, without fully disassembling the whole thing. So we'll have to basically lose this, and that implies in disconnecting the whole thing. Yeah, you know what? Why not? Just go. I've come this far, so let's just go crazy. Do it. Okay. So let's just disconnect the LCD display. Maybe a good idea, so I can clean it up anyways. Okay, so this is for the LCD, so this is the LCD screw. Two of them, of course. And that should be enough to separate. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like here. lot of screws, you know. But let's do this. So those two small ones here basically are from this section of the monitor assembly. So I'm going to leave them together as well. So we know where they go. And now I think I might be able to disconnect this. As far as I remember, this is an easy. Yeah. So monitor is out. Let me put it aside. Okay. Now sorry about that. Okay, so as far as this goes, there are two screws here. One here, three screws actually. One and two. And three. Oh, good. So those silver ones are from the assembly here. I'm going to put that there aside here. Let me see if there is any other screw that I should take care of. I think that's pretty much it. That should do the trick. So I should be able to lift this up. Network mounting. And yeah, funnily enough, like it doesn't seem I had to remove this before the motherboard, because apparently the motherboard goes on top of it. So come on. Move. Well, bad news is I have tested the Kanga board, and it's not working as expected. It powers up, but there is no sign of life in terms of the LCD display, so apparently the video portion of the board is corrupted or is malfunctioning. And I'm not really going to go over the trouble of fixing it, because in the end it doesn't really matter. It would be great if I could have that working, but in the end all I want is actually a functioning Powerbook 3400, and I'm happy with that. So right now what I'm going to do is basically replace this is the trackpad portion of the board. As I mentioned before, this has been repaired by someone in the past, so this is like super glue. And I just rather have the non-repaired one. I'm just going to exchange because the plastics here are in better shape than the plastics in this one. So I'm just going to go on and exchange the parts between the boards. So hopefully that should be easy enough. Let me see. So 3 screws should be able to do the trick. So I don't know what this is. Yeah, I have no clue what this is, but anyways. So let's see how difficult it is to actually replace this. Okay, it's just as easy as that, basically. So I'm just going to go on and replace pretty much everything. Maybe I could, no, there's no way around that. Yeah, it's easier just to replace the whole thing, I think. So let's see, because it's this thing is glued on. Okay, so this is the pad. This one. Let me get the board that fell here. Okay, so this is so this is the repaired part, right? So this is basically what I want to get rid of. And this is the good plastic. As you can see, it's actually in very good condition. So let me actually, taking the opportunity that it has been fully disassembled, let me clean it up. So again, with the brush to get rid of all the speckles and everything. Okay. And then later on I'm going to give a good alcohol cleaning, make sure like everything is great. So yeah, so as you can see, like all the plastics are in immaculate shape here apparently. So yeah, I really want to use this part. So it's prepared. Let me put it here. So this is the screws of the replaced one. I'm going to put this together later on. It's just not my priority right now. And let's do this. Okay, the two screws here and this one. This is apparently some sort of a sensor. I have no clue what this is. This, I mean, like it's very weird. See, like it's some sort of a sensor. I don't know why, I don't know what it does. And right now I'm not really interested anyways. Okay, so this is, again, I think it's easier just to go with the whole assembly. Yeah, okay, so let me put this here. Put this back in place. Come on, go to your place here. Yeah, that sounds about right. And now ready for the reassembly. So it's a transplant, basically. Okay, so this goes here. I would just have to make sure later on that everything is aligned and properly put in place. That seems a bit, oops, yeah, the trackpad doesn't look, okay, yeah, now it's in place. So yeah, now this is in place as well. And yes, perfect. Okay, now for the screws. Screw number 1 and the screw number 2. Don't over tighten, because you know this plastics, they are extremely fragile as they are fairly old. So this is that weird thing, sensor or whatever. Hopefully this is correct. Yeah, it should be. Is it? What is this? Okay, so whatever that is in place. There's some glue still here. That should be enough to hold this up in place. And connector wise and everything looks okay. I should have taken the opportunity to clean the trackpad. Yeah, you see, like it's in awful shape. So yeah, might as well just remove these and do it over. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to pause it while I do it. Okay, so I finished the cleaning, so the disassemble, the reassemble of this trackpad, and as you can see now it looks immaculate. So very clean and properly reassembled. And yeah, some people say that yeah, it's a lot of trouble, like it doesn't worth it, and what's the point of having this type of equipment in the first time? Like, you're not gonna use this in your day-to-day, are you? So this is really more like it's a hobby after all. Like, this is something that you do because you love, and if that is the case, why not do it properly? So okay, this is ready to go, and now is the part where I'm basically going to reassemble the whole thing. So I have already like cleaned up everything, well, most of it at least. Still some elements to be cleaned before the assemble, so I always take the opportunity when disassembling everything, to basically clean all the parts independently, individually, just because it's so much easier. And I still have to go over the screen and clean it up as well, so I'm going to use alcohol to clean up the LCD. Even though like some people don't like it, I always used it and it never ever was a problem. So, and it's actually very good for cleaning it up. So this part here is also fine. So let's see what else do we have. So the main board. So the main board here, it's actually in very good shape. There is not much to be done here, other than some minor cleaning. Or the good thing about this model is that there is not much to be worried about the capacitors. So the capacitors here, they are not those more common electrolytic type of capacitors, and those that they use here in those newer boards, let's say, they are a little more resistant. So they're not, of course, bulletproof, but the tendency of those failing or leaking is way lower than those other capacitors type. So I'm not even gonna bother replacing them or even testing them. I know that the board is functional, that is working, so I don't really care. Just found like a little annoying piece of paper inside this, so there's a tag of some sort that is coming loose, so better to, you know, remove it before it becomes an issue. Yeah, that looks good enough. Very clean and functional mainboard. Unfortunately, again, like I couldn't get the Kanga keyboard to work, so I'm going with the pre-existing one, which is okay. Now this is of course the LCD, so let's get this cleaned up. So first let's brush away all the speckles and dust. The screen itself seems to be in a good condition. I don't see any major spots or anything like that. There's no major I'm gonna say like scratches, and I examined this before. Also note that pixels, which is fairly unusual for active matrix display of this age. So I guess I was very lucky. So let's see how far I can clean this. Sorry if you don't see it, I'm just you know, like trying to be a little more careful in the connector section here. Okay. So some alcohol, and where is my microfiber cloth? So the way I do it is really like no secret. Make sure that the microfiber cloth is clean, right? And that's pretty much it. Like I'm just going to spread a bit of alcohol here, so that it doesn't get soaked, and that's it. So let's clean this up. As I said, like I always used plain alcohol, you know, to clean the screens on my notebooks and such. Never had an issue with it. It doesn't stain or anything like it. It might not look good at first, but eventually when all this you know, the dust and the elements, they start to, you know, dissolve and be gone, then this will look so much better. The back side, I'm trying to be very careful here, because of course I am a little bit afraid of dropping this, and I don't have a replacement screen because the other Powerbook that I bought came with this screen busted. So basically this is the only one that I have, and since it is in such a good shape, it would be really a shame if something happened to it. Okay, so back to the main. So I'm actually going to get some window cleaner here. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm basically now I added some window cleaner to the solution here. So as you can see, like it actually gets rid of the hard stuff. Like alcohol is great, but alone on its own it doesn't really do much on the heavy stuff, you know. So since this is a very old screen, years and years of stuff accumulating on the LCD here. So now let's get to the right side. Yeah, this will look great. You can just see it. Can you see the difference? Look at that. Spotless. I can still a little bit of something here and down here as well. It's always a little bit stubborn, you know, like to get off, but with circular movements they will eventually get away. And now drying up. And that's it. Beautiful. Yeah, it looks spot on. Perfect. So the screen is ready to get assembled. Hopefully I will be able to remember how to do it. So I have already dusted off the speckles and everything here. So it's just a matter now of you know, like putting everything together. So the main board is here. So it goes like this. It's always a little bit tricky, you know, like just like it is to get it off. To put it back in is also no walk in the park. So I have to be very careful here. Because the problem is it has to get in like sideways like this because of the connectors. And hopefully just pushing a little bit. Yep. Like that. Almost. Almost. Come on. Get in. Already. Yeah, you know, this board is, the way this was assembled, it's really like from comparing this with the other Powerbooks. Oh shoot, I forgot something that remained in the Kaga, which is this. Yeah, so this little thing here has to go right there. This is for the CMCIA. I think I can actually put this back later, maybe? No. Maybe now, it's the time. Can't see anything. Come on already. Okay. It's in, I think. Yeah. Okay, so ready. Yes, and it's in. Shoot. Okay. Perfect. Just making sure all the connectors are aligned and everything looks great. Okay. Good. very good. Yeah, it looks very good. Everything seems to be in place here. Perfect. Good. Okay, so next step. So I think I have already, yeah, those guys are already in. Yep, and yep. So they are already in. Let me just, so there is the power supply. Oh yes, there is the network card, and I have to remember this. Goes in here, I think. This stands. Yeah, it's a pain, you know. So I don't remember if it goes like this, like this. Okay, so it's like this. And the other one is here. It goes in here. Good. Now, this here goes like this. Seems to be the problem. Just a bit of a cleaning here, and let's go. Come on, get in. Yes, and come on. Yeah, like where is the connectors? And here, okay. Yes, perfect, perfect. Okay, so this is in. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually watching. I just muted it, but I'm actually watching the previous recordings that I've made, so I know how to reassemble this in the proper order, basically, so I don't forget any screws or anything. Very important when you are dealing with those, it doesn't matter how old they are, you know, like if you're dealing with any electronics that they have a lot of components and small screws and stuff, always a good idea to take pictures and organize yourself so you don't get lost. So I'm glad that I actually did it, so I can actually watch the recording now and I get to know exactly where things are. So I already put the heatsink in. I have to now I have to remember, of course, to bring up the screen back in, but before I go to that point, I'm actually going to reattach. So looking at the video now, I have to reattach the power supply module. So I'm just gonna do this now. So I have already put the little phone here to hold it in place and avoid it touching like any other electric parts, which could cause like a short and ruin this marvelous piece of equipment. Okay, it's in place. So heatsink is in place, and now the power supply element is in place as well. It looks good. So let me see what else. I'm actually watching the video right now, so apparently the next step will be the hard drive assembly, which is just here. So this goes like this according to the video. So I have to reconnect the ribbon down here and then just close the whole thing up and screw it. It's a little bit hard, you know, to find the right spot for the ribbon to connect from the angle that I have here, but an easier way maybe, yeah, much easier. With those ribbons, you know, like, again, because they are old, it's not too hard, you know, to break them. So be really careful whenever dealing with those guys, because if they break, yeah, it's fairly hard, you know, to repair it. Okay, so yeah, assembly perfectly in place. Good. Now the screws for it, which are down here. Yep. I think are those, or are those? No, this is something else, isn't it? Yeah, I see, like, this is the problem because I was messing around with something else. No, those are the right ones. Yes, just remembered now. So those are the proper ones. So one goes here, the other goes in here. The problem is if you get the wrong screws, you know, like I have these ones here. See, they are much, they are a little bit fatter if you actually compare it with the right one. And if you try to get this one here in the hole, it will eventually break the plastic assembly. So don't do it. Okay, so hard drive assembly in place. Just tightening up the actual hard drive screws. Let me just make sure that there is nothing that goes here. Yes, no, there isn't, because this is actually the bottom screws. So let me see, what else do I have to do here? Okay, so far so good. Yeah, I think, yeah, the next part will be basically the trackpad assembly. So we have to connect the ribbon here. Hopefully it's not gonna be a living hell to put that back in. Maybe I should have done this before I added a hard drive. I don't know, might be a little bit easier. I don't have a lot of space here to work, that's the problem. Okay, so let's see. The problem with those little ribbons, you know, is that they have to get in right, because if they don't, of course they lose entirely their purpose. And the other thing is, until you actually lower the tabs that holds them together, they will be loose. And they're not going to be in place. Okay, so I think I done it right, so it seems. I'm just going to make sure it's secured in place, which seems to be. And now is the hard part, which basically is reconnecting this to the plastic assembly without breaking it. And I hate this part, you know, like I truly hate it. Just okay, so now just press it. Hopefully it will get into place without further. Come on. Don't force it if it doesn't get in, because if you do, for sure those tabs are going to break, and you really don't want that. So just slowly, you know, and patiently try to get those tabs in place. They will eventually go. Don't force it too much. Again, patience is key. Don't force it too much. It's not going. Okay, so that's the problem, you see, because if they're not going, if you try to force it, it will actually break loose those little plastic tabs, and you really don't want that. So there's no point in forcing it. It's not gonna do any good. Again, patience is key. So try to see what you're doing. So maybe I'm actually doing this in the wrong way. Maybe I should first connect those here, because you see they are quite big. So I think this is the proper way, you see? And then push it. And yeah. Heard that? Yeah, that's a perfectly good click. It seems to be in place. It seems to be very snugly connected. So you see that don't force it. There's no point in doing so. You will break everything if you do it. Okay, so I think the next step is basically bringing back the LCD display and reattaching it to the assembly, and then we go from there. So okay, so I ended up realizing that I made a mistake. So I forgot this part here, and also I realized there was a ribbon cable missing, and it was because of this infrared sensor here. So basically when I exchanged the frame from the other one, that didn't come along. So to be honest, I don't care, because never gonna use that anyways. So I just left it without it, and I'm now going to reassemble it, like put the screen back on. And so yeah, it's really a shame, you know, that I wasn't paying too much attention to those little details. Like I will keep, you know, the infrared transmitter and sensor, like just at least I have the original part if needed in the future, but I doubt I will ever like disassemble everything only to reattach it. because I don't really see any use for it, and I don't think anyone will be missing that anyways. Okay, so the screen is back. Just have to reattach the screen cable now. And it's back. And finally, let's reattach this little guy here. So make sure it's in place securely and screw it back. There you have it. Perfect. So I think everything is in place now, the way it should. It looks good. So yeah, feeling a little disaligned here. Don't like this, but you know what, I'm actually going to leave it. Okay, so memory board back in. I'm actually, I think before attaching the memory, we reattach the keyboard ribbon and also the back, the side panels again. So this is here. Come on. Yes. Yeah, so I did it again. Didn't pay attention and put something back before something else. Is it? I think so, yes. So this can't be reattached. Come on. Before the side panels. Yeah. Okay, this one is back. Second one. Yeah, also back. Good, that was easy. And now, finally, for the 10th time, let's reattach this little guy. Okay, yeah. Looks great, looks sturdy. Sturdy, not dirty. Okay, screen looks fine. I think the only thing missing now is the keyboard and the memory. Yeah, first the keyboard. So the keyboard. Now I will have to clean this up. So I have a. Let me check here. I have two keyboards as well. So both are precisely the same, so both are American keyboards. Both were working and both look pretty much the same as far as I can see. So yeah, I'm going to clean this up and then come back here and reassemble it. Okay, so it's cleaned. So I cleaned the keyboard. As you can see, like no speckles or anything, like it's really clean now. So I'm just going to reconnect it to the ribbons back to the case and we can call this done. Then it's just a matter of basically reattaching the not reattaching, sorry, just a matter of putting back the screws on the bottom, and this work will be over. Okay, so the tabs are lifted. So again, I need to protect this screen because I'm going to be leaning the keyboard towards it. I think that's an easier way, you know, to maybe, I don't know, to be honest. Maybe like this might be better. Yeah, maybe. Is this right? Yes, it is. Okay, this one is in. Just have to press the tabs. Pressed it. Now this one. This one's a little more stubborn. Make sure the tabs are all the way lifted. Yeah. Yes, it's in. It's all the way in. Perfect. Now I can finally close this up. That feels great. Okay. Now it's just a matter of forgot the memory. Darn it. Back to what I said, you know. Yeah, I have to pay attention. Now, so just no.
Por quê?
Porque não? And it's in place. Now I can. Okay. And the final 3 screws. Let's start with the middle one. Yeah, the trick here is I will have to hold the keyboard in place, or I won't be able to screw this back in place. Good. And this. And the last one. Done. Don't need to tighten that too strong, no, but let's just finish the cleaning here. looks great. So everything looks to be in place. Buttons are functional. Well, that concludes it. So I'm just going to power it up. So I reopen it, and basically I just removed the keyboard, and I was able to see that it was really like not very well connected, the ribbon cable. So reattaching it did the trick. So repowering it up, let me turn off the light so that, yep. So let's see how it goes now. It should be just fine. Okay, hard drive kicking in, and there goes the screen. So the mouse pointer now is moving, so let me show you. As soon as it shows up again, I'm going to move it. Now, the bad thing about the PRAM battery out, so the one that I removed earlier, is that basically it doesn't store any of the functions, for example like the brightness or the contrast or the sound or whatever it is, and the date of course. But again, to be honest, I don't really care. And there is also a bonus here, because this particular one, let me find it, yeah, here, the battery is actually in very good shape. It's working just fine. So if you see it here, right, the LEDs, so it's holding full charge, it's not leaking or anything, so the terminals are very clean. So the battery itself can basically store the information. If the PRAM battery is out, the computer battery actually can be used to store it. So the only problem is that I really don't think I will be storing this this computer with the battery on, because I'm not crazy. So again, like, I don't really care if the contents are going to be lost. Again, like, I'm not going to be using this computer like crazy anyways. It's more like you know, for occasional solvency sort of stuff, maybe playing some games. And I do have some other notebooks as well, like old ones. I will show a video of my collection later on. What I'm doing now is just cleaning up the battery so I can reinstall it. It was very dusty, so I don't want to, you know, after all the trouble that I went through, I really want to keep everything very tidy and clean. So let me re-add the battery here. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, like this. There you go. So battery now shows here. Let me increase the brightness. So as you can see, screen is really good. So mouse is working fine now. And let's see the configuration here. So it has 64 megabytes of memory, and yes, and that's Mac OS 8.1. So yeah, the trackpad is actually very responsive. It's really good. So very satisfied with the results here. So let me check the hard drive and see what's in it, because to be honest, I have no idea. So Microsoft, nothing in there. Yeah, apparently there is not much. Oh yes, there is. A bunch of applications and such. Some games as well. Well, that's great. Yeah, well, I will be having some fun with it, for sure. That's great. I'm very happy. So I will take some time later on, you know, to make this like good. So battery state here, like as you can see, it's actually showing us full battery, and it has a CD-ROM as well, which I have to also fill it up, so I'm not going to be installing it now. So that's it, that's the final result. So as you can see, very tidy computer, very good shape for its age, beautiful piece of hardware. Very, very satisfied with it. So that's it, guys. So see you soon. And well, let's see what's going on with the volume here. It doesn't seem to be producing any sound. Okay, so let's see the control panel here for sound. Hopefully it's not like the another ribbon that got loose or something like this. So monitors and sound, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, here. Maybe it's just an alert sound that is not there. Yeah. So no, that's not it. Okay, that's better. Simple bit. Okay. Okay, that's better. Good and old quack. Okay, good. So, seems to be working just fine. So I will shut it off and finish this recording. Hope you enjoyed it, and well, I will show you guys more stuff as we go by. See you!